My child, before you let this slip past you, stay with me for a moment because I have something to say to the part of you that feels like nothing you do ever lands. You have started to believe that everything you pour yourself into simply disappears. You give, and somewhere along the way you stopped expecting anything to come back. But I want you to hear this slowly tonight. I keep a different record than the one the world keep. Nothing you have done in love is lost. So set down whatever you were rushing toward and let your shoulders fall, just for these few minutes. You do not have to have results to be here. You do not have to point to a single thing you have built or finished or been thanked for. You only have to be willing to listen. Take one slow breath with me and let the tiredness ease, even a little. Before we go further, let me be honest with you, because honesty matters more than comfort. What you are about to receive is an encouragement drawn from the Bible, a reflection offered in faith. It is not a private revelation, and it is not a prediction about your life. It is not a promise that your effort will suddenly be repaid, or noticed, or rewarded in any particular way. It is simply the timeless comfort of Scripture read gently over you today. And there is one verse I want to lay underneath everything I say tonight. It comes from the first letter to the Corinthians, chapter 15, verse 58. Listen to the words slowly. Therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord. For as much as ye know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. Read that last part again in your heart. Your labor is not in vain. Not the part anyone saw, and not the part no one ever saw. This is not flattery, and it is not a guess. In the Scriptures, these are words written to weary people who were tempted to believe their faithfulness was pointless. And tonight, that same word is being spoken quietly over you. So let this come to you the way the Bible speaks it, as if the Father himself were sitting beside you and saying, My child, I have seen every quiet thing you did when no one was watching. I saw the work you finished that no one ever thanked you for. I saw the kindness you gave to people who forgot it by morning. I saw the love you poured into a home, a job, a friendship, a calling that gave you almost nothing back. You were never working in the dark, even when it felt like no one could see. I saw the early mornings you got up tired and did the right thing anyway. I saw the late nights you stayed faithful when quitting would have been so much easier. I saw you keep showing up, long after the applause stopped, long after anyone noticed you were still trying. And I did not look away. I know what you have started to whisper to yourself, that it does not matter that you are pouring water into sand, that everyone else seems to be moving forward, while you keep planting seeds in ground that never sprouts. You have started to feel like a failure, not in some loud, dramatic way, but in a quiet, daily way that wears you down. You look at all your effort and you cannot find the reward, so you have begun to wonder what the point even is. My child, hear me. The world measures by what it can see, but I do not. The world counts what is visible, what is loud, what is finished, what is profitable. I count what is faithful, and those are two completely different accountings. There is a voice that has been following you, telling you a story about your life. It speaks in your own tone, so you have assumed it was simply the truth. It tells you that your work does not count unless it produces something. It tells you that if no one rewarded it, then it must have been worthless. It reads your effort back to you and stamps every page with the word wasted. My child, that voice is a liar. It does not speak for heaven, and it does not speak for the one who made you. So tonight, when that old voice starts its familiar accusation, answer it with truth. When it says your effort vanished, The truth says, your labor is not in vain. When it says no one noticed, the truth says, I noticed every single moment. When it says you have nothing to show for your life, the truth says, you have stored up far more than you know. You do not have to win the whole argument with that voice tonight. You only have to stop agreeing with the lie. So if you are listening tonight feeling like your effort just keeps disappearing, this is for you. If you have worked hard for years and cannot point to the reward, this is for you. If you have loved people who never said thank you, this is for you. If you have done the small, faithful, invisible things that no one ever claps for, this especially is for you. You do not have to prove your worth here with a list of accomplishments. You do not have to show me a finished product. Come as you are, with your tired hands and your unrewarded heart. In the Gospel of Matthew, there is a quiet promise that the smallest, unseen things are remembered. The scriptures describe even a cup of cold water, given in love, as something that does not lose its reward. Not the large gestures only, not the public victories only, the small kindnesses, the quiet faithfulness, the things you assumed were too minor to count. In heaven's accounting, none of it slips through the cracks. You have been adding it all up wrong, my child. You have been counting only what came back to you and ignoring everything you gave. And I want to speak to the part of you that feels behind, that feels like everyone else is succeeding while you are stuck. You have looked at other people's results and decided your own life is a failure by comparison. But comparison is a thief, and it has been quietly robbing you for a long time. The scriptures are full of faithful people whose work looked like nothing for years. The ones who sowed in tears, the ones who served in obscurity, the ones whose harvest came long after they had given up expecting it. Your effort is not measured against someone else's reward. It is measured by the love that you put into it. And love, my child, is never wasted. Now, I know you may not feel any of this yet. When a heart has been discouraged for a long time, feeling comes back slowly. And that is all right. The truth does not wait for your feelings before it becomes true. A seed in the ground is growing whether or not the farmer can feel it growing. And your faithfulness has been doing its quiet work whether or not you have felt a single result. Let me tell you something about seeds, because the scriptures love to speak this way. A seed goes into the dark, and for a long time, nothing appears to happen. To the eye, it looks like loss. It looks like something good buried and gone. But underneath the surface, when no one can see, life is moving. What looked like burial was actually beginning. And one ordinary morning, long after you stopped watching, it breaks through the soil. My child, so much of your work has been seed, not harvest. You have been judging your whole life by what you can see above the ground. But I have been tending what is happening below it. And there is something else you have not let yourself believe. You think the harvest of what you sow only ever lands in your own hands. But a great deal of the good you have done was never meant to come back to you at all. It was meant to reach someone else in a moment you will never witness. The patience you gave today may steady a heart you cannot see for years. The faithfulness you practiced quietly may become the example that holds someone else together long after you have forgotten you said it. You have been waiting for your effort to return to you and grieving when it did not. But love does not always circle back to its source. Sometimes it travels forward into lives you were never meant to count. That is not your effort being wasted. That is your effort being multiplied beyond what your eyes can follow. I want to say something tender to the part of you that has grown weary in doing good. There is a kind of tiredness that comes from working hard and seeing results. And there is a deeper tiredness that comes from working hard and seeing nothing. You have known the second kind, the one that quietly drains the heart. The scriptures speak directly to that exact tiredness, urging the weary not to grow faint in well-doing, because there is a season of reaping that does not run on the clock you can see. So if you are faint tonight, you are not failing. You are simply in the part of the story that comes before the reaping. And the one who promised the harvest has never once broken his word about its timing. Think back for a moment on the things you did that felt pointless at the time. The patience you gave to a child who did not understand it yet. The honesty you held on to when cutting a corner would have been easier and no one would have known. The forgiveness you offered that was never returned. The faithfulness you kept in a quiet season when nobody was paying attention. You thought those things disappeared, but none of them disappeared. They became part of who you are and part of lives you may never fully see. The world had no reward to hand you for those things, so you assumed they did not count. But heaven keeps a longer record than the world does. And here is something that discouragement has been hiding from you. You are not the same person you would have been if you had given up. You think you have only been losing, but you have also been becoming. The faithfulness you practiced when no one rewarded it shaped a depth in you that shortcuts could never have built. The love you gave without getting anything back made you into someone who can love freely. The quiet steadiness that gets you up on the discouraged mornings was forged, not handed to you. None of that effort was wasted, even if no paycheck and no applause ever came for it. Let me speak to the despair that hides in a single question, the one that has been visiting you lately. What is even the point? You have asked it quietly, maybe without words, on the days when the effort felt too heavy and the return felt too small. It is one of the loneliest questions a heart can ask. And I do not want to answer it the way the world answers it, by pointing you to results or numbers or things you can hold. The point was never only the result. The point was the love inside the effort, the faithfulness inside the work, the person you were becoming while no one watched. A life is not measured by how much of it the world rewarded. It is measured by how much of it was given in love. And love is the one thing that outlasts every record the world keeps. So the next time that question comes, do not answer it with despair. Answer it with this. The point is that none of it was wasted, even the part I cannot see yet. And I want to remind you of something the discouragement keeps stealing. You are not as alone in your effort as you have felt. When you thought you were laboring by yourself, pouring out strength you did not have, you were not actually working alone. The scriptures describe a work that is not only yours, but a work done with the one who strengthens you in it. Your faithfulness has been joined to something larger than your own two hands. That is why the verse does not simply say your labor is not in vain. It says your labor is not in vain in the Lord. Those last three words change everything. Your effort was never just your effort. It was your effort, held inside a love that does not let good things fall to the ground. I want to gently correct the way you have been measuring your own life. The world taught you to value yourself by output, by results, by what you can show for your time. It told you that if you cannot point to a reward, you must have failed. But that is not how heaven measures you, and it never was. Your worth was never tied to your productivity. It was tied to the love of the one who made you. On the days your work produces something visible, you are loved. And on the days your work seems to vanish without a trace, you are loved, exactly the same. So tonight, I am asking you to set down a few things you were never meant to carry. Lay down the belief that your unrewarded effort was worthless. Lay down the bitterness toward the people who never noticed what you gave. Lay down the quiet despair that has been whispering, "What is even the point?" You were not made to carry those things, and you do not have to carry them alone. Let me sit with you a little longer in the place where the despair lives, because I do not want to hurry you past it. You have done so much that no one will ever know about. The phone calls you made to check on someone who never asked how you were doing. The bills you quietly covered. The worries you carried for other people. The prayers you prayed for names that may never thank you. The meals, the rides, the listening, the showing up, the 1,000 small, faithful things that left no trace anyone could see. You have begun to feel like a servant whose service vanished into thin air. But hear me. In heaven's accounting, hidden faithfulness is not lesser faithfulness. It is often the truest kind. The work done where no one can applaud it is the work that proves what is really in a heart. And I have seen all of it, every single hidden act, and I have written down what the world forgot. I want to gently loosen the grip that recognition has on your peace. You have started to believe that if no one notices your effort, it did not really count. But recognition was never the thing that gave your work its worth. A kindness is no less kind because it went unseen. A faithful day is no less faithful because no one praised it. You do not need a witness for your goodness to be real. You already have the only witness who matters, and that witness misses nothing. So you can stop waiting for the world to confirm what heaven already knows about you, and about all the work you think you have nothing to show for, the years that feel like they slipped through your fingers. Hear this carefully, my child. Faithfulness is never the same thing as failure. The scriptures promise that the one who began a good work does not abandon it half-finished. What looks unfinished to you is not unfinished to me. What looks like wasted years to you, I can weave into something you have not yet imagined. Your story is not a pile of pointless effort. It is a field that has been sown, and a field that is sown is not the same as a field that is empty. If these words have stirred something in you, you do not need to do anything dramatic. You do not owe anyone proof. You do not have to perform your faith for a stranger. But if you would like, take this quiet moment and turn it into a small prayer. It can be as simple as this. Lord, I am tired of feeling like it does not matter. Help me trust that none of it is wasted. There are no perfect words. The scriptures show God meeting people in groans and whispers and prayers too weary to finish. Your honesty is enough. And if someone you know has been feeling invisible in their own faithfulness, you are welcome to share this with them. Not as a chain and not as a demand, just as a kindness, the way you would hand a glass of water to someone who is thirsty. Now here is one gentle but important reminder, and I will not rush past it. Faith is a deep comfort, but it is not a replacement for care. If you are struggling with your health or your mind or a weight that feels too heavy to carry, please also reach out to a doctor, a counselor, or someone you trust. Hope and help were always meant to walk together. Asking for support is not a failure of faith. It is wisdom, and it is brave. And before we come to the end, let me ask one simple thing of you. Keep going a little longer. I am not telling you that the reward you have been waiting for will suddenly arrive. I am not handing you a date or a guarantee or a tidy ending wrapped with a bow. I am telling you what faith has always whispered to the weary. that steadfast love is never spent for nothing. You have kept going through seasons that gave you no reason to keep going, and you are still here. That is not failure. That is faithfulness, and faithfulness is its own quiet kind of strength. So when the effort feels pointless, stay steadfast. When the reward is slow, stay unmovable. When you cannot see what any of it is building, keep abounding in the small, good thing in front of you and trust that it counts. So as this message comes toward its close, I want to leave one thing in your hands to carry into tomorrow. Your labor is not in vain. Not the part anyone rewarded, and not the part no one ever saw. Whatever this season has taken from you, the final word over your faithfulness is not loss. I will not promise you a date. I will not promise you a reward you can hold. I will not pretend to know the things that only God knows. You have been handed enough empty promises, and I will not add to the pile. But I can leave you with what the scriptures say with full confidence. Be steadfast. Be unmovable. Keep pouring yourself into the good, because your labor is not in vain in the Lord. So lift your head tonight. Not because every effort has finally been repaid, but because none of it was ever truly lost. Take one more slow breath now, and let this be the truth you rest in. Your work is seen, your faithfulness is counted, and nothing you gave in love was wasted. If messages of hope like this one bring you peace, you are always welcome to stay close to this quiet corner of the internet, where we simply sit with the scriptures together. And wherever tomorrow takes you, whatever you keep showing up for, may you do it knowing that the one who made you keeps a longer record than the world ever will. Peace be with you, my friend. Rest now.